Ryan's been using the Quadriciser for nearly 7 years. The difference between Ryan before using the Quadriciser and now is really dramatic. Initially, when he started using it, his knees pulled together. It was really, really hard to keep them apart. And boy, now you can look and see that his legs are loose. This has been a big part of why Ryan's legs have stayed loose. Just movement alone helps to dissipate the spasticity. At least that's been our experience. And it's hard to get the movement to happen. It's physically hard on a human being to make all the limbs move at the same time, and for any length of time it's exhausting. So to have this machine do it for us, when you first put him in it at the beginning 7 years ago, he didn't have the kind of range of motion that he has now, but the movement allows for the legs to not be so tight, which then allows for greater range of motion. Not to mention all the good circulation that goes on in the lower extremities, because other than this machine at the very beginning, he was pretty much sitting still. And that's really not good for any human body to just be immobile all the time. I think the Quadriciser was vital to keep his limbs from getting contractured. He was heading towards tighter, tighter, tighter when we found this machine. This machine started allowing him to keep his limbs able to go through the range of motion. And then we've provided lots of other therapy on top of it, which I don't think that therapy would have been as effective because his body would have been too tight to respond to it. This kept his circulation going, which keeps the blood flowing, keeps the brain a lot more active. The cross crawl is neurologically really good for the body. I was told that wouldn't it be great if we could get him on the floor and pattern him like he's crawling? Well, for children or small women, you can do that. For a big 6'4", 200-pound man, you can't. So in order to give his brain the benefit of a cross-crawl motion, this was a godsend. And it kept us moving forward, where I'm not sure we could have passed certain barriers without having a machine to do this very vital, all four limbs in opposition, this cross-crawl motion. Which then, you know, it snowballs. If you can keep the legs from tightening up and the arms from being tight, you can then take advantage of other therapies that might otherwise be useless to you. But this was the beginning of being able to get out here instead of here. And now, it used to be we had to strap his hand into this handle because it would not stay. And he's gotten much more control over it. There's just not pain in his legs like there used to be, and tightness in his legs like there used to be. It's pretty amazing. The machine can do what it would take at least 3 people to do. At least 3 people to do. Say one more thing. One thing in Ryan's case, and I think in a lot of cases with brain injury and stroke, is if you can, honey, if you can pattern the movement passively, his brain somehow starts to remember how that movement goes, and you'll see him do it without the help of a machine or somebody moving his limbs for him. I used to have to pull him forward in his chair because he said his back hurt, and I'd rub his back for him. I don't know how many times a day I would do that for him. A year or 2 later, I saw him lean forward in his chair. But it was so many times of being done for him before he was able to do it for himself. It just took that long for the brain to remember, or the body to remember. But this kind of movement just is retraining the body to move that way. And I really believe if you move a person with a brain injury often enough, same thing, we used to put our hand on his hand to feed himself, and eventually he was able to take his hand to his own mouth. I think it was from repetition, 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 and this is providing push and pull repetition on all 4 limbs, and I think it's reminding his body how to move, how to extend, and how to bend. So eventually it comes out without the machine. You know, people that are immobile and their feet are down towards the floor sitting in a chair all the time, there's a swelling in the legs and in the ankles. It's not good for them. and it makes their feet very sensitive. So getting the legs and the extremities to move like this will get the blood flow and also get the puffiness to reduce in the feet and the ankles and the calves, which is uncomfortable and not real safe. We've seen him take steps in the Arjo walker now for many years, but to be able to go all the way from one end of this big room across to the other end, now they're going to swivel him around and walk him back again, all without a rest. And then they'll let him sit down, rest, and then they'll get him up with one person on each arm, and he'll continue to take steps without the Arjo walker, giving him a sense of maybe walking a little bit more on his own. So it's just a process of taking him to the next level. But you got to get the body moving before you can get to the next step, right? Well, Ryan is now picking up both legs, right and left, as this Arjo walker is rolled forward. So he's keeping up with it on his own. Nobody's having to pick up his legs anymore and move them for him. He's got that pattern. Now what we're still looking for is strength to stand on his own, but with all this practice in the Arjo walker, after being in the Quadriciser, it's patterning his legs to go one in front of the other, and he's gotten to where it's pretty easy to keep it going for a long time. He's going to walk across this whole floor. Keep going, Ryan. We used to have to be down on the floor picking up his right leg and then picking up his left, and anymore. Now he just picks up his legs and keeps up with the Arjo walker as others roll it forward for him. Eventually, as his legs get stronger, he won't need assistance. He'll be able to just stand in the Arjo walker and go across the floor on his own as his legs build strength. At the time, though, I remember when his left leg worked better than his right. Now his right leg, for some reason, is working a little bit better than his left. But they're both working, and that's what we're excited about. Weight bearing is his biggest problem now because his legs are working really well, one foot in front of the other. So they're practicing taking 2 steps and then standing. So Ryan take 2 steps and then a stand, right? 1, 2, standing tall. Good. That's going to get him stronger. I'm not a scientist or a doctor or physical therapist, but I've seen a real connection. I'm a great mom. I see a real great connection between his ability to move and his ability to think and speak. I don't think the body was meant to sit still, as I said, and our brains work better when we can be active. And I've seen that in a lot of other brain-injured people too. People that can walk, if they are immobile, their brains don't work as well as if they're being active. So the people that can't walk need some help, and this machine provides that help.